Alright, for this video I want to go over a sample Florida sales and use tax return DR-15 form. So we're going to look at a sample return here filed by a new business that has some gross sales, which include taxable and exempt amounts, and they need to file the return and pay their sales taxes. So I've got the paper version of the form here. This can also be filed online with the Florida Department of Revenue site, but in this example we're going to look at a paper filing. So I've got the DR-15 here. We've also got the Excel workbook for our company, which separates the sales amounts. So we'll have a closer look at this. And then we've got one slide here covering some background on the DR-15 and then some more details on the fact pattern itself. So when we talk about sales and use tax in Florida, the Florida general sales tax rate is 6%, right? And so this is 6% on taxable sales. So there are things such as exempt sales, which we'll see an example in our fact pattern here, but you're looking at 6% on taxable sales, and then most Florida counties have an additional discretionary sales tax rate. Now some counties have a 0 rate as the extra surtax, but most counties will have 1%. So it's anywhere from 0 to 1.5. Now, before a company would be submitting this sales and use tax return, it has to get registered. So you file the DR1 with the Florida Department of Revenue. You obtain your certificate of registration, and you get your Florida resale certificate. So the resale certificate is helpful because that will allow you to purchase your inventory without having to pay sales tax. Right? And that's because ultimately you're going to be charging it when you sell that product to the end user. Now, when you get registered, most companies are kind of set up to just do filings and payments quarterly, but if you have sales over certain thresholds, you can file monthly, and then in other limited circumstances, you can even do an annual return. Now, most of the time, the sales taxes can be paid with the filing of the return. However, if you do a lot of sales volume and your total sales tax liability is $200,000 or more in a prior fiscal year, now you have to start making estimated sales tax payments. So you can no longer make the payments simply with the return and the filing. You've got to make estimated payments. Now, electronic filing is highly recommended. It's just quicker, it's easier, it's more reliable than preparing the paper forms and mailing them in. So highly recommend you electronically file. The other appeal with the electronic filing is you do get a little bit of a discount. So there is a collection allowance discount if you submit the return and payment electronically. Now it's a $30 discount max, so not much, but it's still something to encourage you to perhaps register and pay online. Now let's look at our fact pattern here. So we've got John Taxpayer. He's the 100% owner of a Florida S Corp, and the company operates a food truck. So they sell hot dogs, sandwiches, tacos, soft drinks, and some bottled water. Now the company submitted its DR1. It got its annual resale certificate. And so it started operations at the start of the year, so Jan 1, 2024. And so their January sales were $16,120. Now, when John rings these orders up and charges the customers, he's separately adding the 7% sales tax. So he works in a county where the discretionary rate is 1%, so we have 6 plus 1 is a 7% sales tax. All right, and he does track exempt versus taxable sales. And so if we have a look at his workbook here, you can see he's separated out between taxable and exempt. So bottled water is one of the most common exemptions. So bottled water generally is completely exempt from sales tax. So when he charges customers for bottled water, he doesn't have to impose the sales tax. But when he charges for all these other items, he's got to impose the sales tax. So we've got his January sales by item. We've separated it into taxable and then exempt. So the water is exempt. And so down here, the Florida sales tax is 6% imposed on the $15,818. And then we have the discretionary sales tax, which is the extra 1% imposed on the $15,818 as well. So the total sales tax that he collected and has to now remit to Florida is $1,107.26. So now we can take a look at the return. So we've got the DR-15 here. the paper version has it basically doubles up on the reporting because you have your copy, right? So your voucher. So you can see all the information up here on the your copy is what we've got down here that's being submitted to Florida. All right. Now the form is pretty straightforward, right? So we've got the certificate number that was issued to you by Florida. The HDPM date, this can be left blank. This is entered into by the Florida DOR when they receive it, right? So HD stands for hand delivered postmark date. So they enter this to see whether or not you timely filed. So on the line row A, we've got our general sales here. So we've got the $16,120 of general sales, the exempt sales, which were the bottled water components, 302. So our taxable sales are $15,818. The tax due, we've reported the 7% figure. So this tax due column should include all of it. So it includes the 6% general rate and then whatever discretionary rate that you also had to charge on those sales. So we've got the $1,107.26 here. So the total amount of tax due is $1,107.26. Now we don't have any deductions that were being reduced here. So an example of a deduction would be if you had to return a product to a customer. So if you have returns and the returns includes obviously a refund of the sales tax, you can have a reduction for the return sales tax component. Now we don't have any estimated tax that was paid. We don't have any Department of Revenue credit memos. So all of this is going to be left blank and we're just left with 1107.26. Now you notice here on the paper version, line 11, the collection allowance is zeroed out, right? So we don't get a collection allowance if you paper file. That's why we encourage you to e-file these returns, and so you'll get a small discount there for e-filing the return. So the amount that's going to be due here, assuming we timely file it, is $1107.26. Now the other items here, we do want to indicate what reporting period. So we're filing on a monthly basis. So we have our January 2024 figure. The discretionary surtax rate is 1.0%, and then we list the information on the company. So Not a Real Food Truck Limited, and the contact address for the business. Due date for these returns is the day, so the first day of the month following the close of the reporting period, and then it's got to be filed within 20 days generally, or else it's going to be considered late. Now, the other thing that has to be completed here is the discretionary sales surtax component on page 2. So this is where you would separately calculate that if you had different rates, right? So within a county, or if you had exempt amounts, so sales exceeding $5,000. So if you sell a piano or something and it's more than $5,000, you don't have to collect the additional discretionary tax on amounts over that value. But the one component you definitely always will see is the line 15D amount. So the total discretionary sales surtax that was charged and collected, if we look at our workbook, right, we have $158.18, and so that's what's being reported on line 15D. This amount is already included in column 4, right? So notice here it says how much sales surtax was due, already included in column 4 up here. Right, so this is, again, it's the 6% plus whatever discretionary sales surtax that you had to charge and collect. So $158.18 is already included in that value above. And so the return is ready to be signed, dated, and filed with the DOR. Right, now, again, this is a paper filing. You can submit a check, or you can pay online electronically. But our recommendation is always to go ahead and visit the Florida Department of Revenue website and go ahead and file this electronically. All right, so that covers it for this video. Hope that was helpful. Any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. And as always, appreciate you watching. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thank you.